Hello, friends. I am Michael Kingswood. I write fiction for fun and profit. And I'm also a Star Trek fan, but I've been a very bad Star Trek fan over the years, and I never watched Voyager all the way through. And I feel guilty about that. Very guilty. I have to repent. I must repent of my woes. And so I bought the DVDs for Voyager and I'm watching them all. And I'm going to take some time here on this channel to talk through the episodes as I watch them and give my thoughts on them because hey, I'm a writer, do science fiction in my writing and other things. And I was like, well, maybe you guys will get some benefit out of hearing my writerly insights about things. And even if not, it'll make me feel good and have some fun to do it and give me an excuse to make more things on this channel. The purpose of this channel, of course, is to draw attention to my books and my writing. In fact, this one right back here is my latest novel, Warfare Qualified, which you can go and pick up through the Based military science fiction book sale, which is happening right now as we speak. Wait, hang on a second, shipmate. Hang on a second, Kingswood. What is the Based military sci-fi um, book sale? Well, I'm glad you asked because that is a very great thing. So over here, the Based book sale, which is over on Substack, which periodically polls indie writers, indie people to go and put their books up to have they try to get more visibility to people who are not in the mainstream, who are doing cool things that people might like. And that right now, this is their Substack page. Right now, they're doing a based military sci-fi genre book sale. And about 30 people are involved in it, including me. Let me scroll down to me here because this is my channel. So damn it, I'm going to show me. Here it is, Warfare Qualified. Warfare Qualified, like all the other books in this sale, are currently on sale for until next Tuesday. That's maybe October 23rd, I think. Something like that. Discount, largely discounted 99 cents. It's going to be a good time for you to pick that up. People love it. It's a good book. In fact, look at this, 4.8 on Amazon. Woohoo! And of course, I've been very happy because I finally got a review that was less than 5 stars, which I know it's a little weird, but I distrust any books that only have 5-star ratings. So when a 4-star came in, I was like, yes, I'm more trustworthy. Yes. Anyway, so go over to Base Book Sale and check that out. It is basebooksale.substack.com. Not just my book, about 29 other authors have their books up there, and they're looking great. And you can pick up some good fun. Anyway, I have been, like I said, I'm going through Voyager here because I talked about this before, but I watched most of the first season of Voyager uh, right around the time when I was getting ready to graduate from college, and I remember liking it, and but then I lost track of it because I was driving submarines for the Navy, and as a junior officer on the submarine, you don't have a lot of time for other things other than your job and trying to meet girls at bars, and so that's what I was doing. But anyway, I was like, shoot, I have been neglectful in my Star Trek duties, so I must go through it. So we're going through it now. So here we're going to talk through episode 3, Time and Again. Now, I said before that I really liked the first episode of Voyager, and I did. Episode 2, I was disappointed in because it made the captain look like a schmuck, and yeah, it did. Episode 3 is called Time and Again, and it's a time travel story. So, time travel can be cool. Like Back to the Future is awesome. Star Trek 4 was cool. And what was that Tom Cruise movie where he kept repeating the battlefield over and over again against the invading aliens? And I don't remember the name of it, but that was cool because it was a time loop. This is not an example of good time travel. This episode, I hate to say it, there's a bunch of stuff in here that I like, but overall, it the it doesn't work. Well, let's go through it and we'll talk about why. So, okay, we start off. We got Tom and Harry, our two favorite dudes. Tom, of course, is the guy who led Wesley Crusher's squadron into disaster. They changed his name, but that's okay, fine. And Harry is the newborn ensign, and of course, Tom's getting off watch. They're going this direction of Warp 7, yeehaw. And he's getting relieves and he's like, hey, Harry, coming with me? We're going to go meet these girls. And Harry's like, no, I've got a girl. And Tom's like, dude, your girl's 70,000 light years away. Come on. You got to hook up with the Delaney sisters, and they're not going to hook up with just one of us. They need both of us. And Harry's like, no, no, I got to be loyal to my girl, which, props to being loyal to your girl, but she's 70,000 light years away and you're probably never going to see her again. And frankly, Tom has the right idea about this because, yeah, but I guess, props to Harry for being true to his girl and in face of all reason. But, and it's a great little scene between the two of them. Tom kind of being the devil and Harry being the good guy and all that stuff. I love the interchange between them because it's just two dudes and the way one dude's reluctant. It's like, yeah, it's great. Um, I think Tom's right, but yeah, whatever. So they're about to leave, and oh, a shockwave comes. Oh my gosh! Holy cow! Ship's getting rocked. And the complaint I had about last episode about hull integrity failing is gone because, like, we got a small hull breach on deck. I forget which deck, but it's under control. The force fields are holding. It's like, oh, it's great. It's an actual, it's not a stupid percentage thing. It's a real issue. That said, how are you going to fix that when you're far away from a starbase in a dock, somewhere people can weld the hull, whatever. Well, look how, where'd the shockwave come from? They detect debris in a star system nearby, and they think, okay, it's a detonation of some kind. That would be bad. They scan, still going past the star system. Well, there's an M-class planet there. And we think the shockwave came from there. Okay, slow down. Let's go check it out. And holy cow, this M-class planet has been wiped out, completely incinerated. Nothing is left alive on the surface. Like, God, what's this? This is bad. This is really bad. And I have noise reduction, but you might hear the Navy helicopter flying over top of me here. I'm under the flight path for Navy training flights here in San Diego. It's almost unavoidable. If that came through, well, sorry, but hey, go Navy, beat Army. Anyway, um, so there's life. It looks like there's an M-class planet, so there's oxygen, nitrogen atmosphere capable of supporting life. But they're orbiting it. Everything's been wiped out, but they can't tell there's any construction or any kind of you know evidence of civilization there. But they're orbiting the planet, and they're always able to tell in their scanners until now. Okay, well, whatever. Okay, so they decide to beam down. And one thing I love about Star Trek, which is it's sort of silly, but it's the show, so you just got to go with it. Like all of the senior officers on the ship go down, except for XO. Chakotay doesn't go. Riker would have gone and made Picard stay behind, and Riker would have been right. But yeah, okay, fine. It is what it is. But all of them, but no, the chief engineer, captain, chief of security, everybody goes down. And it's like, come on, this is not a good plan. But okay, they go down there because it's Star Trek, and that's what Star Trek always does. But it's always for me with my I was 20 years in the Navy, submarine officer, and every time even before I was in the Navy, I was always like, why are you sending the captain down? That doesn't make sense, but whatever. Okay, so they get down there and everything's laid waste, but there are structures which somehow they couldn't, you know, detect from orbit. Okay. But there's a thing called a polaric energy, which we don't know what it is. I know what polarity means, so sounds like some kind of ion thing. Scorch the entire planet. Apparently, polaric energy was researched, but but at one point, a Romulan facility blew up and killed a whole bunch of people. And based on that, there was a treaty with Romulans, Klingons, everybody else saying, we're not doing polaric energy. It's too dangerous. We're not going to do it. And okay, that's great. That's back in the Alpha Quadrant, but apparently that's not here. Um, but they determined that that was that. Okay. At the same time, back on the ship, Kess is like kind of weirded out. She had this weird vision, and see things going around, and Neelix is getting concerned about that. Oh, of course, because Neelix is with her, and he's like, "What's going on?" Everybody else thinks she's a little weird. We go down to sick bay. But down on the planet, Tom starts seeing these weird things too. And the way they do it with Tom is much better than the way they did it with Kess, because Tom is walking around and he turns around and it's back in the scene where the world is normal and people are running around. He's like, "Holy crap!" And then it blinks out of existence. Like, "Whoa, cow, what the heck?" And in fact, it's great because the way the scene shifts is great because Tom's there and a hand reaches out and grabs him, and it's Captain Janeway. She's like, "Tom, what's up?" And he's like, "I saw this weird thing. I don't know." And he's like, "I really saw it. I was there. It's the weirdest thing ever." And props to the rest of the crew. They don't think he's nuts. Of course, it's Star Trek. He can't be nuts. It's Star Trek. This sort of weird thing happens on Star Trek all the time, right? So Tuvok's there, he's scanning, and everybody's doing their thing, and they're like, I think looks like there's subspace rifts left over from the explosion. And Janeway's like, all right, we're getting the hell out of here. Everybody start to beam up, and then she and Tom are both back, drifted away to wherever it is, and they're now back on the planet, apparently back in time, because that's what you have to assume for the explosion. And kids are running around, they're playing, everybody's happy, and this one kid points at them and screams, "Ah!" And they appeared out of nowhere. They're demons. The security dude comes trumping over. What's going on? And Janeway's like, "No, we just walked around the corner." And security guy's like, "Oh, of course that's what it was. You kid, stop being a moron." And he's very condescending to the kid. But, hey, he's a kid. We should be condescending towards him. But also it's a little cheesy. It's a little cheesy. But they give a complicated maybe school story about how they came across from this other part of the planet, and the security guy's like, "Okay, cool. We'll go about your business, kid. Get over here. I'm gonna beat you." I didn't really say that, but you know what I mean. So they're Tom and Janeway are like, "Huh, we gotta figure things out," and they start to go off doing their thing. So then we're flashed back to the ship. Everybody's back on the ship, and uh, Harry and Balana are given the briefing. I was like, this very cool, this cool PowerPoint that they've set up. Not a PowerPoint, but the equivalent thereof. Like, okay, well, we think what happened was the explosion happened, but we experienced a shockwave, but the shockwaves are really going back in time, back towards the uh, epicenter of the explosion. And we'll, these subspace things will continue. And, you know, this is where it starts getting weird. This is where it starts getting dumb. Well, how are we going to find the captain? Well, if she thinks to, you know, turn the communicator into a subspace beacon, if we find another rift, she might be able to tell us where she is. We can find her through that. It's like, oh, okay, cool. And then, cool. It's kind of a. I wrote down here the rescue plan is pretty loosey goosey because it's really filled with hopium. It's like, we know what to do. Hopefully, those guys will know what to do, and then we can track them. I guess, hopefully. And meanwhile, Chakotay is sitting there like, I'm going to be captain. Of course, he didn't actually do that. But, if it was Chakotay, if I was Chakotay, I'd be like, I guess I'm captain. This captain's screwed. And of course, Chakotay is better than that. Chakotay is a good dude. I think of all the cast members so far, the ones I like most are Tom, because he's got a wise ass and it's kind of fun. And Chakotay, because of all of them, he's the one he's the stand-up guy, when he was fighting for the Maquis because the Maquis were morally correct, and they were. And he was looking out for his people, he accepted help from Janeway when it was required. And as soon as he got onto Janeway's ship, he's like, "We're listening. She's the captain. We're answering to her because she's the captain of the ship." And he's you know honorable man. He knows how ships work, and the way the captain should make some XO, and he's still sticking up for his guys, but also deferring to the captain as he should. He did that one little thing where he promised Balana that she was going to be chief engineer when he wasn't in the place to promise that. But okay, well, that's because he's sticking up for his guys. So anyway, Chakotay is a stand-up dude. I like him a lot. Tom's a fun guy. I like him. You can't not like Harry because he's the uh, he's the inexperienced, innocent guy who wants to do great, and he's good at his job. And okay, and the others are still growing on me. Well, Neelix and Cass go down to the medical bay. Oh, the other character I like immediately was the medical hologram, the doc. And this scene with them is funny because it's like, "Oh, you're on board? Why don't I have your medical records?" Neelix is like, "Well, we just came aboard. Why didn't you present your medical records?" "Well, we're not Starfleet." "You're not Starfleet? What the hell is this?" "Well, there's, you know, dozens of other people on board who didn't." "What? No, everybody else came on board. Nobody told me. Where's their medical records?" "I don't know." He's like, "Anyway, what the hell's going on?" And of course, like, Janeway's not here. He's like, shit. He doesn't say that, but he's like, damn it. And then he goes off to stew. And Nix is like, "Well, what about Cass?" And he's like, "Well, you're the healthiest member of your species that I've ever seen." And he's like, "But you're the only member of your species I've ever seen. I have no data to go from." And Cass is like, "Oh God." And then Doc instantly kind of, becomes a little less harsh. And he's like, "Look, you think you're a psychic," because she was already saying that she thinks her species had been rumored to have mental powers before, but nobody believed it. But she always did. And Doc's like, "Look, if this is something your species does, you're adjusting. It's probably fine. Whatever." And we have to assume that he then took scans to establish a baseline for all of them. It's not shown, but in later episodes, he pretty much has them. But it's like, it's a great scene. Any scene with the Doc is great, and he's gruff and grumpy. But at the same time, you can tell he cares, which is kind of, it's like they programmed the medical hologram with Bones's personality. Where's Bones's personality? It's great. Anyway, so we're back on the planet, and Tom and Janeway are walking around together, and Janeway's like, "Oh, I just had this great plan. I'm gonna program my communicator to send out a subspace beacon, so maybe they'll see us." I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" The plot convenience, coincidental thinking between the crew in the future and the crew and the two in the past throughout this episode is face palmy, and this is the first part. I mean, back in the briefing, Harry and Balana were like, "If she sets up a subspace beacon, we could find her." And then she's like, "Happens to think, oh, if I set up subspace beacon, maybe they'll find us." Well, why the hell would she think that? Except that the script writers wrote that into the script. It's Anyway, as they're walking along, Tom is realizing that they are about a day before the Holocaust, I guess Holocaust, the the event, the Holocaust that destroyed the entire planet happened. And he's like, "Hey, maybe we should warn them." And she's like, "No, the Prime Directive applies." I'm like, "The Prime Directive? Seriously?" The Prime Directive is about not interfering with the development of pre-warp civilizations before they can meet, and interface with the rest of galactic civilization, right? It's not it. It's sort of a moral thing, but it's also, there's a morality to it, but it's like it's also not 100%. in the drumhead in Deep Space Nine. One of the things the Deep Space Nine in TNG, one of the things the witch hunter admiral lady tried to get Picard on was he violated it 9 times, and Picard's like, "There's a good reason every time." And one of the good reasons that he violated it with was with when Data's little pen pal girl who's on the planet that was having trouble and was gonna they saw that there was, tectonic issues in the planet and it was gonna cause trouble. They're like, "Oh man, I don't know if we can intervene. Um, I don't know if it's possible for us to intervene." And then Data's little pen pal says, "Data, help!" And Picard says, "Your voice in the wilderness just became a cry for help. We have to help." Right? Because Picard's objection to Data talking to the person was from the Prime Directive. It was like, "Look, they're a pre-warp civilization. We can't have contact with them. It's all good. But once their planet's blowing up and she's crying for help, he's like, well, we have to help these people because the Prime Directive is about not fucking people up, right? It's about not screwing up their civilization. It's not about, oh, screw it, they're pre-warp, just let them all die. That's not what the Prime Directive is about. But Janeway's like, oh yeah, well, they're all gonna die. The Prime Directive says we have to let them die, and that's not what it is. And Janeway here is just displaying contemptible lack of concern about other sentient beings here. It's frankly evil the way she's applying it as she and Tom are talking. Um, but they go on. They heard about the protest. They get over there, and the protest erupts in violence. And one of the security guys, you know, smacks Janeway with his gun, and Tom just goes full badass and whoops that dude's butt. And it's like, "Go, Tom, yes!" And then they all leave, and Janeway is dragged away. And the security dudes are just like, "Ah, never mind, we're going back." It's like, wait a minute, you guys just got attacked, and you're like, "Ah, screw it, well, we're just going home." Okay, fine, whatever. Um, but damn it, that annoying kid has been following them around, and the kid is really annoying. As they're going up to the is it now or is it later? The kid finds them when they're at the protest, like, "I told on you, I checked you out, you didn't really take the flyer." And I love the thing that Tom says to the kid at one point. It's like, "You're right, we were lying, because I am a demon and I eat souls." And the kid's like, "Ah," and runs away. And it's like, I love Tom so much. Anyway, but for whatever reason, the protest, I'm sure some of it was real, but some of it was fake. And these two guys, some of it was a false flag kind of thing. And Tom and Janeway get scooped up by the guys who are behind the plot, and they're in their headquarters, and the big bad guy there, I recognize the actor, but I'm not sure where I've seen him before. I'm sure he's been in Star Trek a few times before. And if I was less lazy, I would look it up. But I'm not gonna because I'm lazy. That's the reason I'm also not doing typical reaction style scenes because I don't want to deal with the editing and I also don't want to deal with the copyright stuff. But he's interrogating them, and Janeway is a really, really bad liar. Really bad liar. And the resting bitch face doesn't help. She's saying this stuff, and the guy's like, with this stern look on her, and it's like, you could try to be personable, but anyway. Um, but then we're just juxtaposed with them beaming back down to the planet, and Cass insists on going along, and she's like, sense them, sense, sense them, and it's a little weird. Um, but okay, fine. Um, but eventually the kid shows back up, and the 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 schemers who were doing something about the polaric energy thing grab him and pull him in, and he's, you know, they're lying, and the bad guys are like, "Okay, well, they're lying now because the kid said so." but also they knew they were lying because Janeway's a bad liar. And they have their tricorders and their phasers, and they're like, "What is all this gear?" And at one point, they were like, "Hey, well," Janeway's like, "I can show you how this works." And big bad guy leader, who's actually the big bad guy leader, uh, I like him. The actor does a good job, and he's smart. His two goons are morons, but the leader, he's a smart dude. And Dan was like, "I'll show you." And she starts to go for the phaser, and he's like, he grabs her hands like, "One of these could be a weapon. How about you not? I'm not letting you touch that." And she's like, "Shit." Of course, she doesn't say that, but eventually they take their comm badges. And she's like, "It's a communication device." "Oh, you're communicating because you're spies for the government. And the government's after us, and well, the corporations are after us." And clearly, it's a uh, it's a corporate government corporatism kind of situation where either the government is running the corporations or the corporations have bribed the government officials. They can do that they want. Either way, it's we can all relate to that sort of thing. But like, and we're like, okay, well, we're gonna go do our thing. Do we need to delay? We're gonna do it a week from now. Should we delay? And asking them, is it, do the government know our plans? Know our timetable? And she's like, I don't know, 'cause she doesn't know, but she looks like she's lying, and she sounds like she's lying because she's telling the truth, but she's not good at looking like it. And I was like, okay, well, we're going now. And at this point, they they realize that she 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 and Tom realize that probably these guys are doing something that's gonna set off the explosion. And she finally decides to come through. I'm Captain Janeway, the Starship Voyager of the Federation. They're like, tells them the whole thing, and they're like, fuck out of here. What are you talking about? And no. And at the same time, we're just juxtaposing back where the crew is being back to the ship and in the ship in the future, and they're in the same place, and they find their communication badges, and this is where the captain died. Oh my gosh. And the crew's like, oh geez. But the Janeway and Tom get led away in the past, and the crew goes back to thinking about things, and they're like, at one point the crew was like, well, you know, find the epicenter of the blast. Oh, it's over here. And it's like, well, if I was the captain, I would have gone there. Well, okay. And Tuvok's right. He's like, this is illogical. Why would you think this? And like, no, this is what I do as a captain. Tuvok's like, well, I can't think of anything better to say, so let's go. And then Janeway's there like, okay, again, back in the past, talking about well, we've our subspace things on, but they're going to look for us, and we better do something here. And it's like this parallel planning between the future and the past, as though they're somehow telepathically connected. They're all both thinking the same thing. It's a little bit tiresome. But anyway, they get the bad guys bring Janeway and Tom, and they're like, if you let the bad guys on to what we're doing, we're gonna kill the kid. And then the goon takes the kid gun out and points it at the kid. And in fact, the leader says, I have a gun pointed at the kid. Screw us and we'll kill the kid. And then the goon takes the gun out. It's like, have the gun pointed at the kid ahead of time, for the love of God. But anyway, um, but I do like how Janeway does this. He's like, talk to her. She's from the government. I was like, the security guard comes out. Like, who the hell are you? She's from the government. She's here to talk to you. And it's like, well, why the hell should the security guard leave him? Who the hell is he? Why would he believe her? Show me some ID. Would be the right. It's like, when government people come to make an inspection of a facility, unless okay, there are such a thing as surprise inspections, but it's also like, it's generally known ahead of time, unless it's a surprise. But even then, they show up with an entourage, not just a couple of schmucks walking down the road with some weirdo people who are like, and a kid, and who the hell are you people? Show us your IDs. But they don't ask for ID. Janeway just walks up. But I do like how she does that. She's in full stoic mode. It's like, I am a hostage. These people are trying to sabotage your thing. And the security guard's like, and he gets shot because he's a moron. And then other shots happen. And it's like 30 seconds later, the other security guards come out and they all get shot. It's like security here sucks. But I do like how Janeway didn't give in and said, screw you. I am not going along. I'm a hostage. I like that part. And then the stupidest line. The leader at this point has been a smart guy. You can tell he actually, he seems like a fairly straight up dude. He's doing some shady stuff, and he's you can tell he says, in fact, says, "I'm a patriot. I think this stuff's dangerous. We need to stop it somehow." And but they're not letting us. And it seems like his heart's in the right place. And then a bunch of people get shot, and then he becomes a total jackass. He turns to Janeway. He's like, "Their lives are on your conscience, Captain." I was like, "No, they're not. They're not on Janeway. You're the one who shot them. You're the one who set the whole situation up. You schmuck." Uh, Anyway, so the bad guys go in. Tom got shot during the whole thing, and Tom's like, "Oh," and the kid's like, "Oh my goodness, I somehow like you, Tom, even though because you were mean to me." Actually, Tom, during this whole time, after he told the kid he was a demon, he was ingratiated himself with the kid, and the kid started liking me, started to like the kid, and they were talking about how the kid's dad was a reporter and he wanted to be a reporter, and Tom was like, "I'm sorry." Kid's like, "For what?" And you can tell Tom wants to say, "I'm sorry, you're going to be dead in less than a day." He doesn't say it because you don't say that to a kid. But you can tell Tom cares, and that's why we like Tom. But but Janeway's like, "Stay with Tom." Kid's like, "Okay, yeah," and Janeway goes in, and this part's cool because Janeway's going in stealth mode. She's sneaking around. She's picking up weapons. She's creeping around, doing the cool stealth thing, which is cool. At the same time, the crew has gotten to this place and in the future, and they're like, "Okay, well, let's scan around. Oh yeah, this is definitely where the that nation came from." And oh man, a lot of issues here, but I don't see a subspace beacon. Well, yeah, you found their destroyed communicators back at the last place, but of course, it could. You're in the future. You don't know how the timeline went off, and they're like, "Well, there's no subspace beacon." It's like, "Oh," but Kess is there. It's like, "No, I'm sure she's here. I can feel her being here because I'm psychic." And this is another thing that annoyed me. It's what annoyed me about yesterday's Enterprise and TNG is there is no good reason aside from plot why Guinan would have known that the timeline was all jacked up in yesterday's Enterprise, right? She's the reason why she talks to Picard and Yar, and it's like, oh, well, Yar's not supposed to be here. You're supposed to be dead. Well, how in the hell could Guinan know that? A, she wasn't. Well, she wasn't on the. She wasn't on the cast in season one. Maybe she was canonically on the ship, but it's like if the entire timeline has changed, how would you know the difference? Now people have talked about, oh, the Elorians have the special powers, and okay, but it's kind of contrived. Same thing here. Cass is like, oh, no, they're here. I can feel them here. It's like you're feeling them back in time. Yeah, that's anyway. So Janeway goes up. She gets a drop on them. She gets the bag with her weapons, and it's like, stop. You're not doing this. And of course, bad guy leader is like, what the hell do you think we're trying to do? She's like, I don't know. You're going to detonate some, you're going to do some kind of sabotage. You need to blow the thing up and destroy the entire world. It's like, that's not what we're doing. He never says what he's doing, but it's like, no, that's not what we're doing. And she's like, well, we're just going to wait. And this is actually smart of her. It's like, okay, she knows they're just a couple minutes away from when the disaster is going to occur. All right, let's just wait, see if it happens. And he's like, all right, cool. Let's wait. Nothing's gonna happen, and you're gonna show yourself to be a psycho, and then we'll, kill you and do what we're gonna do. He didn't say they're gonna kill her, but they've already killed a bunch of people, and she's clearly out of her mind from their perspective. So, whatever. Hey, they could, she could be the patsy for what they did, right? Take her down. She's the blame for whatever it was. Hey, that's a way for them to get away clean, right? But then they turn on the portal in the future, and the portal opens in the past, and it's like, and the big bad guy leader's like, "Holy shit!" And Janeway's like, "Oh yeah, see, I told you." And they're like, "Oh God, look at it! It's gonna go to the power conduit. It's gonna blow us all up." And Janeway's like, "Oh my God, they're rescuing me, and rescuing me is what set off the explosion." And and of course, the guys in the future are, none the wiser. Like, hope they can get through. Hope they can get through. And she's like, "Give me a phaser. My phaser might collapse it." How is a phaser? Okay, fine. How is a phaser going to do that? No idea. But she fires the phaser. It sets up a feedback wave, and it shuts down their thing in the past. And white flash. Everything's wiped away. And suddenly we're back to Harry and Tom talking about hooking up with the Delaney sisters. And again, Tom was correct. They're going along, no explosions. Hey, look, there's an M-class planet in this star system. We're passing by, and it's like, oh, should we check it out? Oh, we're scanning from all this way away, and we can see they're a pre-warp civilization from way the fuck outside of the solar system. They're passing by at warp 7, right? They're going to be past this thing in hours or minutes, but they're able to fully scan the planet. Okay, cool. It's like, oh, prime directive. We're not going to interfere. Hess walks up on the bridge, and it's like, I have to see. Did it happen? What happened? Is the planet okay? Well, yeah. Do you want to have a look at it? Yeah, sure. Put it up on the viewer. They're from outside the solar system, passing by at warp speed, and they get a orbital picture of the planet not burned up, but healthy with civilization on it. And that makes no damn sense at all. Because, anyway, I'll go to that in a second. But it's fine. And then they're like, "Oh, are you gonna go talk to them?" And it's like, "No, pre-warp civilization. Our policy is that we're not going to interfere with them." And Neelix says, "Well, that's a most enlightened policy, Captain." So it's kind of because it's kind of not. And then the episode ends. So it's like it's a dumb Prime Directive episode, and it's a dumb time travel episode. My man Lore Runner, who I'm a big fan of, who I've listened to his stuff a lot, talks about how there's 3 different times of time travel. There's time, the timeline is always set. You can go back in time, but you can't ever change everything because everything's the done. Everything is how it always was be. And there's the time loop thing, and then there's the change. You go back in time, you change events, and that caused the events in the future. So it's a loop. It's all one thing. And there's the multiple universes version of time travel, and this is none of them. This is dumb because the explosion happens. And that's what drives them into the solar system. But the explosion happened because they came into the solar system, and there's nothing in the plot that sends them back except the magical flash at the end. There's no loop, there's no linking material. What's one thing if they didn't do anything to set up the sequence of events until after the events were already done. So the looping thing doesn't make any sense. And the one long timeline part doesn't make any sense because nothing they did mattered. It didn't affect anything. And the multiple universe thing, maybe that might make sense, but it's also dumb because there's nothing they didn't intentionally go back. It was one of those accidental things. poorly done travel that doesn't make any sense if you think about it, even for a second. And it's just bad. And then the piss poor morality of the dumbass prime directive thing. I forgot to turn off the noise on my phone. I apologize for all those bleepings. That's me being dumb because what can I say? I'm a writer, not a YouTuber, although I am on YouTube. But anyway, it's a bad. The time travel arc doesn't make any sense because if by undoing their intervention caused the explosion, cool. But undoing that and thus not causing the explosion means they never would have gone to the planet to begin with. So there's no causal link because the shock wave impacted them was what sends us to the planet to begin with. They needed to already have this make any sense. They needed to already be there at the beginning and investigating or something and unknowingly tinkering with something. Otherwise, it's just magic. Poof. It's like, and of course, the prime directive morality is retarded the way it's expressed here. On the bright side, we did get a lot of good stuff from Tom, and we did get. I mean, Janeway in this episode is, certainly she's better than in the last one in terms of a character that you can like, but at the same time, never send her into a place where she has to lie or act is not good. Hologram's great. Lana and Harry are good. Tom's great. Neelix is just it's kind of fun. The whole thing with Cass is a little weird. We'll see if they actually do this psychic power thing with her again, but the scope of the psychic powers seems, like I said, it seems weird in the way that Guinan was weird in yesterday's Enterprise. It's just a little hard to deal with. Anyway, long story short, on the scale from awesome to meh, it's well over on the meh side. Or I guess meh to awesome. It's over on the meh side. Because it's like it's one of those things where it could have been cool, but the execution was not so good. Um no good character moments, but in terms of the plot's no good. So and we'll never hear about these people again. We'll push on. And of course, at the beginning, they're going on course speed. Hee haw, warp 7, let's go. And at the end, Janeway's like, set course, warp 6. You're slowing down? You were at warp 7 before. Whatever. It doesn't matter that much. But yeah, so yeah, so far, the opening episode, Caretaker with Voyager was good. Dug it. Episode 2 was again, could have been good, but the captain was jackass. Episode 3 was not good plot wise, but there was some good, character stuff in it. Then we'll see what happens with episode 4. Anyway, so that's where I'm at with this. If you like this discussion without videos, then make sure you're liking and subscribing and coming back for more. And go check out my book over on the Based Book Sale. Warfare Qualified is based. It's not based on. It's inspired by my time in the U.S. Navy. Because when I like military science fiction, but I have been very dissatisfied with some of the ways that some writers have portrayed Navy people in their military sci-fi. To me, as a guy who lived the Navy for 20 years, a lot of the times characters don't talk like Navy people, don't think like Navy people, don't act like Navy people, and certainly don't do Navy style procedures. So I wanted to make it better in my own way. So that's Warfare Qualified, that book. And this is you see it here on Amazon. If it is a good place to get it right now, it's on sale through the Base Book Sale. Go over to basebooksale.substack.com and pick it up. and I put a little cool video together about it. Maybe you'll like it. Check it out, and go check out the other books that are there as well. Bunch of good writers doing great stuff. Meantime, come back here the next time I talk about Voyager. And until then, don't do anything I wouldn't do.